brought to you by my unyielding rage and the Knights of Awakening. This is the Labyrinth. Sort of. This is actually me addressing a concern that has to do with my shop, the Rosequartz Labyrinth. So you won't see this spread around too many places. A few of the groups that I'm allowed to share it at, it will definitely make it there. Obviously, it'll be on the Rosequartz Labyrinth. It'll be on Knights of Awakening. Just anyone who gives me permission to share it there, it will get shared there. It has come to my attention that I am a topic of conversation among many, many people. Well, maybe not that many people. That a lot of people are talking about me behind my back. Or, well, no, probably more like one person, maybe two, are talking about me behind my back. Which I find very interesting because I've been making it a point to not really address some of the fallings out that have happened in my personal life, no matter how it might affect my business life. I'm not going to get into naming names. I'm not going to address all of it, but I'm going to address the parts that are important. First of all, we're titling this show for a reason, Beware the Pied Piper. Justin Bain's the one who came up with that idea, and I think it's fantastic. Because the thing is, sometimes you blow that flute and things show up. And I'm one of those things right now. In the mystical community, there is very much a dog-eat-dog sensibility that occurs sometimes. There's the background talk and the attempting to show each other up behind each other's back, which I've managed to avoid for the most part. I tend to speak good of my fellows, even my enemies, in polite conversation. And the result is that people know me well enough, the ones that do know me, to know what I stand for. And for those that have worked with me, they know what I'm capable of as a mystic. They also know I'm not a very vengeful person. For some reason, curses keep getting brought up with my name on it in the sense of, well, what would happen if Charles were to do... I'm not going to over stuff that's happening in the background. Not because I'm incapable, because I'm unwilling. Because what it boils down to is generally, I only do retribution magic when I'm getting paid for it, or when someone has done something that is a threat to my life or limb or to someone I care about. I guess what we're getting at then, since we've got one person running around talking about me, I want to address some of the things that they've brought up to others. The soul sword technique being one. I've had 3 or 4 people come to me and go, "Did you really base this off of an anime?" Partially, yeah. And I've made that very clear in the numerous articles. And whenever someone asks me about it. Now, the original meditation is based off of Shamanic Journey and looking for the Excalibur within the self, which was the meditation I was doing for quite some time before I'd found some better imagery for it. And to be honest, the meditation has evolved far beyond anything in any anime. But that's the nature of it. That's the nature of how we get new ideas. Entire systems have been built off of fantasy. And sadly, if you go back long enough and far enough, most of your systems were based off of some kind of fantasy at some point. Or at the very least, a mythology. I really don't appreciate people making that sound like such a bad thing, especially not if they've trained with me at any point in the past. That kind of thing just doesn't fly with me, because I would expect that they know better than to tear into stuff like that. So as for the soul sword, for the 18,000th time, yes, I got some of the components of it from anime. From ideas, I should say, presented in anime. And I would think with the plethora of episodes and times that I've went over this, that was kind of obvious. And maybe that's an issue for some people. Maybe they are so drugged down in their own dogma that they can't expand outside of it and use other resources. They don't understand that mythology is just a method for allowing the mind to work energy. But hey, if that's what it is, I pity them, their limited point of view. It happens. Sometimes you get so busy chasing that car, you don't know what's going to happen until you catch it. And I guess maybe now they're going to catch that car a little bit. If you're hearing such terrible things about me, first of all, thank you for the, 8 or 10 people that have come to me with this. Several people have brought different points to my attention, and enough of those points overlapped that it finally became time for a public address to express my thoughts on this. Yes, I know that somebody is running behind my back and talking very bad things about me. Yes, I do want to know what they have to say. No, I'm not going to curse them to death. I could. Without too much effort. Their life is a bit of a fustercluck most of the time. But I won't. Because, frankly, they're not worth it. No, I have not put curses on them in the past, nor am I planning to do so in the near foreseeable future. That's just not who I am. I've tried to step away from that path and that direction of being the worse man and the littler man. I prefer to be the better man and the bigger man. I think that's what being a Knight of Awakening means. Do I do curses for hire? Yes, I'm quite successful at it. It's under retribution. For those that are wondering, you must contact me to tell me what is going on first, because I might not do the work for you. If you're having me do a curse on someone I know, or someone who's been a client of mine, that's a no-go, because that's a conflict of interest. And generally, I deal more in situations like with cheating husbands and things like that. Those are the ones I like to go after, because you know what? There's nothing that really angers me more than infidelity and dishonesty and just those kinds of things. I have nothing for that, and I have nothing for the people that do that. So yes, I can be hired for that. And yes, that is right on the edge of what it means to be knightly, and I've covered this in one of my other episodes on what it means to be a mystic knight and how much harder it is sometimes to deal with the morality of these things. Hitting on the morality of talking behind people's backs. Those of you who've brought this information to me each have heard me say, how upset I was about the fact that it was being done. And I think for the most part, none of you have heard me say anything bad about other parties involved. And you won't. Because the thing is, when someone has to talk bad about someone else behind their back in order to keep themselves up, it lowers them. I'd actually prefer a direct confrontation in the here and now with someone than this petty, squabbling, bickering back and forth behind the scenes. It makes the entire mystical community look bad when one of us does that. I don't know how many times I've recommended my clients to others because I felt that a different take on it would be better. I've had clients ask for servitors, and I've told them, no, you want to go to Dark Lord Midnight. Kelestria. Kellis, that's why I call him this. I know the full name is like Kellisterian, and I could never pronounce it, and I'm not going to try. A lot of times for direct curse work, where I don't feel that it's within my morality to say, yes, I'm going to go after this person for that, I've sent them to Papa Hood Sorcery, because I know that him and I, while very close as people, have a different take on the moral field. When it comes to oils, I send them to Papa Hood Sorcery also, because we don't do a whole lot with oils. If it's something we have that exists as a powder that we can convert to an oil, then sometimes I'll say, look, let me do a custom order for you. Let's find out what shipping and handling and, material cost will be, and then, we'll figure it out. Things like that, I don't know, maybe it's just I would rather work with people than against them. Maybe I've always believed that you can build yourself up instead of trying to knock other people down. But I'm shocked on some level, not by the fact that it's being done, but by so many people coming to me with this. It's just amazing, the number of people that have come to me to tell me about my name getting dragged through the mud, and they're so upset and they're so angry about it. And I want to address all of them and then all of the people that may know this other party or may know me and let them know that, I'm glad, I'm thankful for them coming to me, and feel free to come to me with this. Feel free to vent about it, because I know that it makes you upset. The valued clients, the valued friends, and the valued family to those of us doing this, I know that it upsets you and makes you feel as if though there's this terrible infighting, and I wanted to clear up my part for it. Yeah, I've got some people I don't like in this world, and yeah, they're mystics. And frankly, I wish them the best. I hope that they continue to grow and better themselves. And I hope that they learn to do more and be more, and that they overcome the weak points in their own psychology and the weak points in their own business strategy, of which I do believe this was the top one. I still can't fathom why someone would go behind my back and express things to clients, some of which I sent to them. But I do understand that it is human nature to become petty. And honestly, I really didn't want to have to do this video. My hope was that they would continue to go on their path and I could continue to go on mine, and we would not have to meet in the middle in this way. But the option is either to play the telephone game with every single person on Facebook and in the various mystical communities, or to address this publicly here and now on record for all time's sake, so that everyone knows my take on it. Again, feel free to contact me with anything that's being said about me. Don't worry, I am not going to come after someone for them saying bad things about me. It's not what I do. I am kind of hurt that people would go this road instead of a head-on confrontation. I'm kind of disappointed too, because, I feel that if I really am that weak and powerless, or that unprofessional, it would show. But instead I have a thriving business. I have a book that as soon as it goes through some editing, it's going to be ready for release. It's going to be out there. And it's a lot better quality than a lot of things I've read in my time too, which I think says something about the nature of what I'm aiming to do. My goal, ever since I started the Labyrinth, has been to better everyone in their mystical practices. And yeah, some of that has resulted in me being a professional mystic in casting for other people, because sometimes they need a professional. They don't have time to make the growth and changes that they could otherwise make and handle things on their own. Sometimes people just want a little extra help. Sometimes they're in the culture of mysticism, much like being in the culture of computers and video games, where they very much enjoy the arts, but they don't want to be the best of the best. They don't want to be that good. So they go to others for the problems they can't handle. And sometimes you just need a little help. And hey, sometimes I need a little help. And sometimes I go to people that are better than me. That's the nature of it. And it's a continuation of my goal to continue to help people. One of the things I love about running the Rosequartz Labyrinth is all of the people I've gotten to help over the years. Well, over the year. Feels like years, though, over the months. I've been able to do more for more people since I started this shop, been able to help people more, been able to help them with their training, been able to help them find their path, oftentimes at no cost, because I enjoy what I do. And the other side of that is I've done a lot of work for cost. I've done a lot of mysticism, and I've shown my capabilities, because the other side of this is, while I have one or maybe two, I did get word at one point there was one other person out there running about saying things, but they kind of just gave up. So I may have one or two detractors, but I have dozens of people who believe in the work that I do and support the work that I do. And I want to thank all of you that do support that. Let you know that, yes, I am aware, I'm overly aware, that there is one person out there who's made it their life's goal to try and lift themselves up by knocking me down. And I'm still standing. Not only am I still standing, but I've got plans to make the Rosequartz Labyrinth bigger and better than it's ever been. We recently did a full revamp of the page. I want to go and do even more. I want to go and check through the main page and other things like that and see if the wording really expresses it. Once you start into writing a book, it really makes you more aware of your wording and how many issues we have with language and repeating words and phrases. And if you've got any kind of eye for detail, you start to realize, you start to realize that there is so much that you need to change or do in your work at any point. And I've got a lot of growth myself to go through. I know that. Not the world's best media presenter, And I'm definitely not the most charismatic man on earth. But you know what? I love doing this work. And I love working with you people. And yes, I'm aware of it. And I've said my piece. This is what I've got to say. Unless it comes up even bigger or bolder in such a way that I have to address it again publicly, this is my public address. I am aware of my detractor. And I thank everyone who has brought the numerous messages through my contact form, through my email, through my Facebook. It's been wonderful to see such an outpouring of support. Those of you who've brought me the information, you know who they are and you know who you are. For everyone else, if you hear someone speaking bad about me, that's fantastic. Let them know that I'm aware of it if they don't see this. If they do, continue to politely ask not to be in the middle of a personal issue. Let them know you don't want to be part of their vendetta, that you're here to learn and to grow and to do more in mysticism. If you need to, reference this video. Tell them that you want to awaken the night within and you don't have time for petty squabbling. That would be my advice. But when you're a public figure of any form, when you're running a business, you've got to address things like this. You've got to make some kind of public announcement. And this is it. I wish that person the best of luck in their endeavors. For those that have come to me, if you found value in their services, that's great and that's fantastic. You know, I don't retract any positive thing I've said about anyone because I don't have to. What it boils down to is if I said it, then I meant it. If I had to backpedal, well, that would mean that I don't know. What would that mean? If I had to backpedal on saying good things about people, I guess that would mean you couldn't value my opinion of them. And at that point, you couldn't value my opinion of anything. Well, that's a heck of a tune to play on that pipe. So, if you see me supporting someone or recommending them, then I'm doing so with the best and most honest capability that I can. That I truly believe in them. And that doesn't change. It doesn't change because they have something to say about me. It doesn't change where I think their skill level is at, or what I think they are or aren't capable of. But if you find that opinions are being shifted based on who is liked and who is not liked, always question the nature of that opinion then. And if you've worked with me in the past, you know I'm capable. You know that I generally solve most, if not all, problems brought to me. And I'm generally under a workload that the gods would not even want to approach. Because when you're doing good, when you're pricing at a price that allows you to help people, and when you're doing it full time, and you can afford to lower those prices somewhat as a result, then it really does put a workload on you. I started this to help people. I'm still helping people. Always remember, I guess for the Knights of Awakening part of this, when you go behind people's back, eventually it's going to come to light. The person's going to find out. Sometimes with multiple emails in their email box, Facebook messages, and various other contact forms, they're going to find out. Up to the point where they're going to have to respond, and their response, hopefully, will be as good as mine. It'll be a simple, hey, I'm well aware that there's someone out there speaking badly about me. And I'm hoping that if they see this, they rethink that policy. And if they don't rethink that policy, then I'm glad to continue to get the emails, the messages. Keep me updated on it. Let me know. You know, it just shows that I had an impact on a life out there somewhere. And don't worry, I'm going to continue to offer the amazing service that I do, regardless of this. That this is not going to slow me down at all. For those that voice some concern that this person may be disrupting my business, no, not really. I've had a few people come check me out, though, because they felt they wanted to see the other side of that coin. So, I guess free publicity is a thing. I thank you all for your time. Remember, there is a high road you can take in life, and sometimes people take it like I just did. And that is a part of what it means to awaken the night within.